Hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I'm joined with...
Christopher!
Yes, and we have a podcast name in brackets.
In brackets.
Anyway, how are you doing today, Christopher?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. Good. So yeah, what's new with you?
Not much.
Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah. I did watch a few Toy Story movies.
I saw.
Yeah. I don't think we talked about them on podcast. Because I watched them right after we recorded the last episode.
I think we watched the first two. You'd seen the first two.
Yes.
So afterwards you've seen the next two, plus you saw Lightyear.
Yes.
Okay.
The Toy Story trilogy is really, really solid. It's such a solid trilogy. Oftentimes when there's a sequel or even, a sequel to the sequel.
You mean quadrilogy?
Quadrilogy. Well, no, I'm talking about the first three, and then I'll get to four. Sometimes the sequel is hard to have high hopes for, but 2 delivered and a 3 delivered, super solid. It's a really solid series. Number 4 isn't bad.
No.
And I don't think it was unnecessary. But I had a hard time jiving with it.
Yeah. Especially the third one ended in a really good place where you could just leave it alone. But here, I don't know. I don't like the direction they took with Woody and how he would leave the child. Something that he would have never done.
More than just leaving the child, leaving his friends.
Right. I mean, you could say the second one was something, but of course he felt like he was being abandoned at that time.
Right. And there was a tiny element of that in 4, but not as strong as it was in 2.
Right, because in 2 he thought he was going to be sold. Whereas here, he's not being played with as much, but he's still valued.
Yeah, he was still taken along for the road trip.
So, it does some really cool, interesting stuff, but again,
the visuals are incredible.
Incredible visuals. But there's just some character elements that I'm not too fond of.
It really is either way could have ended. Either Woody stays with the gang or Woody goes with Bo. Somebody's not going to be happy. I honestly do feel like that the potential third would and Bo just decides to go with everybody. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I guess they didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Buzz took a real back seat here. Really in terms of how the writing for the character was.
It was very much about Woody.
It was mostly about Woody.
Buzz, most all the movies happen central around Woody, but I kind of see what you're saying. Buzz felt more like a comedic side piece than a supporting character, which was funny. I thought it was funny.
Of course, it's funny, but he was kind of there.
Yeah, I do I was happy to see Bo back. It was, there's an element where it was kind of cool to see, that part of the story, that, just 3, she just wasn't there, you know what I mean? They did reference her, but, it's kind of cool to see, you know what I mean?
Sure.
There's part of me that's kind of cool that they did kind of tell that part of the story, but at the same time, I just don't know. You can argue if it's necessary or unnecessary.
Yeah. Her character is also a bit completely different, but
well, she never had.
She had a little bit of character. Here is just we're just gonna make her go extreme. like a post-apocalyptic bow.
Did you watch the Lamplight short?
Which one is that one?
It's essentially one of those Pixar shorts, which kind of acts as like a design, but its own short. You know what I mean?
Right. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. We're back. We had some technical issues, difficulties. So yeah, Bo was different, but
I mean, I enjoyed Bo in it,
sure.
but yeah, it did. I do feel like the Lamp Life short did kind of bridge the story.
Okay.
From Toy Story 2 to 4. I think like it just kind of showed her exhaustion of being a lamp toy essentially, and so it kind of makes sense of how she evolved in 4, in my opinion. I just watched the Lamp Life short
I guess.
ago.
Well, maybe they probably should have included that in the film.
It probably did, but it like when you watch it, like they probably could have trimmed it up a bit, but watching it does feel like a little deviation. But I think it still should have fit in, you know. Like, you know, with the Doug special mission, like that, despite the fact that that did tie into Up eventually, it did feel like its own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Completely. Same with Bernie and Wally. But this did feel like it still could have fit in. Definitely trimmed out. They could have trimmed out a lot, but still would have, you know, helped be like, okay, that explains her evolution.
Yeah. And then you saw Lightyear.
And then I saw Lightyear.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe Toy Story 4 was a cash grab, but let's be honest, a real cash grab is Lightyear.
Okay.
In my opinion, like I believe there was care for, you know, Toy Story 4. Like despite what you think of the story, it's not that bad of a story. It still has intricate layers like the other 3 Toy Story movies have had, you know. Like it is different, it is controversial, but like it's not like it still felt like there was a lot of care towards its story. Not Lightyear. I am blown away how basic and Disney-like the story was.
Really?
Yeah. Like the first third really like throws you for a loop and you think you're getting something like complex and deep and almost rushes to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I expecting for this? Like essentially like the first third is essentially Interstellar. So like that almost just throws you for a loop, and there's a very emotional aspect to it where it's just like, wow, dang. And then the rest of the movie is what the movie actually is. Like the first third is kind of like the introduction that sets us up to where we are.
Gotcha.
And so the actual core of the movie is trying so hard to be a kids movie that ironically I'm reading in reviews that kids are even bored watching this. But the humor is so played for the kids. It's not like Taika plays the dumb guy. Like beyond dumb kind of guy. Which he can kind of pull off, but it just is not funny. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And yeah, it's not to say I didn't laugh. There are definitely some moments I laughed throughout. But it's not like it doesn't. A story is basic. Like the little twist of Zurg is interesting, but it's
Yeah, okay. Well,
Man, I don't
that
know.
sounds disappointing.
It is. There's
I think that the 2D animated Buzz Lightyear film.
everyone is saying that's better.
I just thinking through it. From what you're saying, maybe not the first part with the interstellar connection, but like the actual Buzz Lightyear thing, that did seem a much better story in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it, but that's what I'm hearing, and I probably would believe it at this point. Now, I would almost want to watch it, but from what I'm hearing, Disney don't like it, and
I don't know why Disney's so it's just like that. It's like they don't want to acknowledge it when
so
it's not that bad of a thing.
I saw this review on Letterboxd. In 1995, this was Andy's favorite movie. In 1995, Andy was a stupid, dumb, beep, idiot, loser kid who loved the bad movie. They were hyping up Lightyear.
So what you're
to be
saying
his
is that
Star
this
Wars.
film came out in 1995.
That's what they're saying. Yes. That's the first thing you see, essentially.
Okay, well
This
now
movie
I have an issue without even watching the film.
Yes.
That's really good graphics for a film in 1995.
It is, but honestly, Toy Story 4 looks better in my opinion. Like Toy Story 4 has an insanely intricate set with the carnival, right? And
But what I'm saying, like if this is a
that's
film
true.
set in 1995, the effects, maybe not the character designs, but the effects would not look like that.
Yeah.
If they should have stylized it to make it look fake. They really should have. Or just have this be a standalone thing, not related.
Honestly, they should have stuck with that cartoon, honestly.
Or have it be a modern day film.
Yeah.
Where not Andy watching it, but the little kid watching it.
Honestly, if it was a modern day film, I feel like I could be okay with what it is.
I'd buy the graphics.
I mean, I'm even talking about the story. But the thing is, someone behind the scenes literally touted this movie as Andy's Star Wars. No, I am not a Star Wars fan, and I'm offended by that. This is no Star Wars. This, like some people were saying, why didn't Andy just get a Socks toy? Socks is definitely the more attractive. I want that toy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Andy had no taste. This is embarrassing. This movie should not have been so embarrassing. Again, if it was more standalone, and it relatively is, but they are trying to make it that movie from 95 and whatever. But because that is the case, it's embarrassing. And as is, it's not that great, but for what they're trying to make it out to be, it's embarrassing. Okay. In my opinion. Again, yes, it was fun to see a Pixar movie in space in theaters, but,
Yeah,
It's really sad.
I mean, I'll see eventually when it's on Disney Plus.
Right.
But for what I'm hearing, I don't really care about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will add one other thing. For one who's barely watched Toy Story, I thought Chris Evans did a great job. I think people who definitely know Toy Story will be more upset and will hear the intricate differences. Yeah. But I wasn't really able to.
From the trailer, I could tell that he was doing a good job.
Yeah. So he did great job.
Yeah.
It's a shame that
because the toys don't typically sound like their actual characters that they're based on. There's always some difference in it.
And I mean, I still feel like it would have been cool if Tim Allen did it, but it's that's not my major concern. My major concern is the fact that they made a bad movie. And
yep.
like again, Toy Story 4 had more intricate layers than Lightyear. Lightyear is, I mean, legitimately, at the end of the day, I hope when you watch it, you'll enjoy it better than I did, but I don't think you will. If I'm not loving this, I don't think you're gonna love it either.
Honestly, probably not. I'll probably love the action. I'll probably love seeing Zurg. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, maybe I'll like the Interstellar part.
The Interstellar part, I will say, like it hits you in the feels for a moment. It
Cool.
does. So
Cool.
it starts decently strong.
There you go.
I will say though, there are 3 end credit scenes. And one of them indeed sets up a sequel.
What?
Yeah.
Sets up a sequel.
Yes.
In what way?
A Lightyear 2.
Okay, but like, can you give a vague description about what they're doing?
I mean, at the end of the day, you think Zurg is dead, right?
Well,
and
of
it
course
turns
not.
out he's not. Enter Lightyear 2.
So
Zurg
was it
comes
just
back somehow?
Was it just like his hand popped out?
No, his lights flicker on.
I don't know if I would say that's a sign of Lightyear 2.
Here's the thing, like especially considering how poorly it's doing in the box office, we'll see if they even will. But if they wanted to, they have a little something to say. Oh yeah, Zurg's not dead yet, so that they have an excuse to make a second one.
Right, but then like again, they're not gonna kill off Zurg. I don't imagine them killing off Zurg. It just seems like the typical thing to do. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, we won't kill off our main villain. Oh, we'll just do that lights off in the beginning, so that people will be like, oh, he's my favorite character. He's not dead. It would definitely fit the style of films in the 90s and the 80s, especially horror movies, because they always end with their horror monster popping back out at the end, not being dead.
Right.
So, maybe, yeah, who cares?
Now, there is part of me that hopes that if there is a sequel, it will be better. Obviously, I want a good movie, right?
Sure.
And I think there is maybe some... I feel like... But then I'm almost scared if they're going to try too hard for a sequel to try to be like a Guardians of the Galaxy, and you'll kind of see what I mean.
I see. Okay.
When you watch it.
Because, David Bowie, his Starman song is all over the trailers.
It wasn't in the movie, man.
Was it even it's not even in the credits?
No. Whoa. I loved hearing the song in the trailer. Like, that was probably the hypest part of the trailer for me. No, here, I will say this. I know so I think here's another issue on my end.
Cool.
That, with Incredibles 2, the director came out and said, this is not a kid's movie. And so I kind of went into that same mentality with Lightyear. Because, they were calling it Andy's Star Wars, you know what I mean? So I was expecting some Star Wars depth to it, essentially.
Sure.
And there isn't.
Okay.
So the director never, so that's part partially on me. I wasn't expecting a Marvel movie, right? That's extreme for Pixar, but I was expecting, especially after watching through 4 deep Toy Story movies, something deeper, something that would, like, give you some emotional feeling at the end. Whether it's Andy leaving the toys behind or Woody leaving his friends behind. You know what I mean? Like, there's some, satisfying emotional ending, not whatever the cliche ending it was. You know what I mean?
I mean, films these days have that feeling. It seems.
It does. I mean, I do feel like it depends on the kind of movie. I guess my issue is the fact that they had such a precedent with the previous Toy Story movies. This didn't live up to it. It's really sad.
Another note. Kenobi, we got the finale. The show's over.
Do you like it?
I did like it. Yes. Everything I said last time is the same. All the problems, you get to the end, there you go. Your questions are answered. You just had to be patient. This thing should have been a film. Let's be honest.
So do you know what I saw today?
What did you see?
They were originally planning a trilogy.
I heard that. I don't know if that would have been a good idea.
Well, the thing is, this show would have been the first movie because the show was adapted. I was reading the interview, so whatever was planned for movies 2 and 3, as far as I'm understanding, wasn't the show. But they were planning a trilogy, and then Solo bombed, and they're like, nope. Rip. They were planning a trilogy, John. That would have been crazy.
A trilogy. Just
that
one
actually
movie
would have been pretty cool.
Just one movie would have been cool.
Right.
A trilogy, that is pushing it. Solo having a trilogy, that was their idea as well.
Really?
Yes.
Dang.
I could see Solo having a trilogy. They actually were setting it up by the end of the film. We're still waiting for them to utilize those characters again. But most recently, they brought one of those characters into the comics, and they're finally telling a story with them.
Okay.
Good on them. They're finally utilizing that, but still. Kenobi is a trilogy. No. I don't want it. With the story ended here, I'm good. Because, the next 2 would not be as good. It would just probably be kind of iffy.
So now I have a question.
Go ahead.
So we were talking about my grievances with the idea of the show, right?
Yeah.
Specifically because of the meetup in A New Hope. Go on that.
Because of the meetup in A New Hope. I mean...
does this do a good job to justify the show existing, but also, this flows into A New Hope well enough?
I mean, of course, you have to say that there's 9 years in between the two. Continuity-wise. I would say there's a lot that they strengthened in A New Hope. Slightly weakened, which is always the double-edged sword. You can't always do things perfectly. But just the simple things that you never would have thought of are whoa. That actually is a much more of a bigger moment than I thought. Wow, that's a good connection. Their meeting at the end was very emotional. Well done. In terms of how they meet again, it's a yes and no type of thing. Because again, the context of what the actors thought in the 70s versus what we think now is much different, of course. Because they're very casual and not very emotional about the way they talk to each other. So really, you put all that context on them yourself, and that's where you gather all your emotion, which is a weird psychological thing, but it works apparently. So it's really one of those things where you'll have to see whenever you do your rewatch. You'll have to see it really, because
I will.
It'll be hard for me to describe it because I've studied this film for years.
That's okay.
It's hard for me to really describe that, but
it's okay.
Yeah, no. They did do a good job, I think. The whole their circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. They did a good job of that, I think. In how they explained that away. It's still they're explaining it. But it was a well in character explanation of why the technicality makes sense. I don't mind it.
You also talked about the Obi-Wan. I haven't called that in years.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the few things like that I don't love. But whatever. Just I had to live with it. There's really only one thing about the show that I didn't like. And I said this in my little review video, where I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't, just because I thought you would spoil it. Okay. So,
well, there's this confrontation with one of the main antagonists that we've been following throughout the show that doesn't make much sense. Because they get like this tiny piece of information that then steadily leads them to this conclusion that they should never have gone to that conclusion. And of course, that final thing is very great emotional part for the character. It's well acted and stuff. But because of that one detail, that entire thing was ruined for me. Because that whole thing just should not have happened or made sense to me. And again, it's hard to say anything without spoiling what the detail is.
So I have been seeing from memes that this show is essentially a chase for Leia.
So you know about that then?
I do, unfortunately. Okay. They compared that to The Mandalorian and one other thing I can't remember. Like, yeah, these movies are the same. Oh, Doctor Strange. That's what. They're like, Doctor Strange and Obi-Wan are the same thing. They want the child.
So Obi-Wan is, I think, it's better done.
Oh, yeah. I believe that. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing. Like the memes.
Leia is great.
Is she? Okay, because I saw that people had mixed feelings. I'm glad she is.
Of course, that has to do with child actors. I know a lot of people don't like child actors, which, I don't blame them.
Right.
It's hard to get past that sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, what she means to the story, I thought was amazing, because I never would have thought that would have been the catalyst of the story.
Awesome.
And when it happened, I was like, what?
Now, I'm not
that
gonna.
character's in this show. What?
I feel like
my entire theory of how this is going to happen is blown out the window. Okay.
I think there's an element now. It makes me curious how that leads into A New Hope. So in some ways, now the show seems more worth watching than what I saw in the trailer. You know what I mean? Because the trailer, because it didn't show the Leah element, I thought it was going to be something dumb.
Star Wars is really good at hiding these things.
Good.
Like Baby Yoda, then now Leia, we had no idea. It's crazy.
So with that, I rewatched Multiverse of Madness.
I also rewatched it with my mom.
Okay, yeah, I watched it with my friend. And still not great, but it was better knowing what to expect, but it's still not strong. It's still not strong.
I thought it was fine, still enjoyable, but like, yeah, it's not as strong as we'd have liked it to be. And of course, like taking away all the expectations, I had a much better time.
Yes.
Like taking it in.
Yes.
But yeah, no. It is what it is.
I don't. It's not like I've seen Raimi movies, but I feel like it's more of a Raimi movie than an MCU movie. Why I say that is because we're so conditioned to MCU movies impacting our timeline, and especially with the hype of Multiverse of Madness, we were definitely expecting that.
Yes.
And like I said, after we watched it, this could go down as one of the better standalone MCU movies because it really is standalone-ish. And I think when I view it as that, yeah, it's still not amazing, but I can kind of appreciate it better almost outside of the MCU.
Right. Right. Yeah, no. I mean, Mom thought it was fine, of course. Of course, that's what she thinks of most things. Because we're just there to have fun and watch.
Now, I mean, like, I probably shared a few things, but like with the amount of things that they cut, well, no, that terrible grammar of how I. Anyways, so I've heard that they cut a lot of things, and at least one of them seemed true as it was teased on a poster. The fact that Wanda killed MC Mordo was cut from the movie. That's just significant. What? Yeah. That was supposed to be like the first scene.
Okay, well, I see why they cut that, because they wanted the surprise. But really? Mordo? No.
Yeah, Wanda was supposed to present Strange with Mordo's head.
No. I'm glad they cut that.
Why?
Because that would be really disappointing in how they set up Mordo. Like, yeah, I'm disappointed that they didn't use him in this film.
Okay, so basically, because Mordo was on his hunt, No More Sorcerers. So, who's the big sorcerer? Wanda. Wanda destroys Mordo.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see if they'll. I mean, it's not necessarily retconning it, but essentially if they'll retcon it.
I mean, I wouldn't say the retconned it because it's
right, but I'm saying like we'll see if this will be retconned for, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
If they end up using the character later on.
Essentially, yeah, that's I guess what I'm saying. But no, so like on one poster there was either Mordo going to Wanda's house. I think that's what it was, but like there was some silhouette of that like on the poster that fans pointed out, like, oh yeah, because there was the theory that, not necessarily theory, but the rumor of said deleted scene, and then fans saw the poster and they're like, oh wait, that matches up, and then Raimi himself confirmed that deleted scene. So
Okay. Well, I can't wait to finally get those, if we'll ever get those.
okay, speaking of deleted scenes, there were only 3. One was an extended cut of the Pizza Papa scene in the movie. The second was an alternative post-credit scene of the Pizza Papa. And the third was a flashback scene from before the first Doctor Strange movie.
Are those available now?
They were on YouTube and
they're on
whatever.
YouTube. Okay.
But yeah, so they're not on Disney Plus yet because they're trying to sell a few digital copies somehow. Yeah, no, because I saw somewhere like the list of deleted scenes, and those were the only 3. So our Mordo thing is not going to be a deleted scene. Whatever other things we've heard that might have been in the movie are not going to be available as deleted scenes.
Okay.
So, but I don't know. Like, I feel like the movie, like, we both thought, like, you know, it was just basic. Soon as Wanda was revealed to be the villain, that was the story. You know what I mean? Either she wins or she loses.
It really is.
And I feel like if like some of these things that they possibly cut, like, would have added a few more layers to the story. Like, this one I've not found confirmation of, but there was one rumor of a not necessarily side plot, but in the Illuminati world, Magneto, played by First Class Magneto, and Wanda or something. Don't know how things relate, but because, you know, how the Illuminati eliminated Strange because he's a threat to the universe or multiverse, they eliminated Wanda's powers because they also saw her as a threat. So that also, I feel like, breathes context and life when the Illuminati's like, we can get Wanda. You know, she's no bother, no trouble to us.
Okay. Because they just sound so dumb.
Yeah, they did sound dumb and way too overconfident. But I think if that scene was there, that almost makes sense because they thought they already conquered Wanda. But
sure.
I don't remember if they talked about dream walking in that scene, and if they did, then it kind of goes back to them being dumb. But it's like that's like a really interesting layer. I don't know where that would have been placed in the movie. But, like, I don't know. It's just
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think Multiverse of Madness is better than Lightyear. I'll say that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
They're both visual spectacles, and that's kind of it.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
So what else have you watched?
All right. Let's see. I've seen a few movies, actually. Let's see. I saw Dark Shadows.
Never heard of that.
It's a movie from 2012 with Johnny Depp. It's pretty much like you have this vampire who was buried for 200 years, wakes up in like the 70s, trying to reclaim his family name.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a comedy about this vampire doing his thing, which is some of the film. But it ends up being a story. Hold on. Here's my here's my review. A film with an interesting concept that doesn't do anything with it. It has some fun moments, but chooses to focus on a love story with revenge rather than comedy.
Of course there has to be a love story. Gosh.
Of course there does. Which was like so disappointing. Because like the concept sounds good. You have the good actor Johnny Depp who plays the part very comedically. But then the film just doesn't do anything with it. And it's like, oh, the film ends and it's boring.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Johnny Depp, did you see what I saw today?
What happened?
I reportedly he signed a deal with Disney.
Good.
$300 million to be Jack Sparrow.
Ah. I mean, honestly, the Pirates thing has been overplayed by now.
Yeah.
But that's good for him.
Like, if that's true, good for him. But the fact that I thought he said, I'm never going back to Disney, that's what I'm surprised about. I guess. And I guess he probably could have been saying that to try to get a bigger bag from Disney.
Right.
But again, like, I saw that reposted on a few different friends' stories. So I didn't do that much research into it, but that's what I saw.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that sounds like good news because he's still a good actor to use. Even if he's not in Pirates, just have him be in things again.
Yeah.
He's fun.
Yes. Oh, and sorry to deviate from your thing, but
cool.
Top Gun Maverick surpassed $1 billion worldwide.
Okay.
The second post-pandemic movie to do so. I.e., Doctor Strange hasn't passed $1 billion.
I mean, everyone's talking about the film, yeah. But I didn't grow up with Top Gun, so I haven't seen it.
I didn't either. There's part of me that's now curious. Not curious enough to watch it in theaters, but curious enough to maybe watch it one day.
Part of it is like flying. Again, Tom Cruise usually means crazy stunts that he does on his own. So he's flying these planes himself. Mission Impossible. Phew, those stunts. Crazy. If you get to those...
Mission Impossible is the thing that Haley Atwell's now in, right?
Yes. I believe so. But I can't confirm.
It's not Fast and Furious.
Oh, she is. Yes, okay. Yes, she is. I was trying to remember who that was. Like,
yeah. No, you're good.
Haley Atwell.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like, I'm curious enough to maybe watch those the Top Gun movies one day. Not enough to see in theaters, but
it's like it's I definitely could watch the first Top Gun. It's available on streaming for me to see. But again, initial idea of flying.
Like the 4-minute teaser we saw before Multiverse of Madness wasn't very appealing.
I mean, sure, it had some funny ideas, but like it was very by the books. You have these trainees who think they're better than the teacher, and the teacher bombs them.
Right.
Funny. But I've seen it so many times that it's not that special. Pilots...
What is mind-blowing to me is the fact that everybody and their father loves this movie.
I mean, it was popular when the first one came out.
I understand. I'm just saying, like, the fact that everyone loves it enough to cross it into $1 billion. That's mind-blowing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to see it in theaters because I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
And I'm already not seeing Thor. So
right,
definitely not going to see that. So yeah, I mean that's interesting. Good for them, I guess.
All right, continue on with what you've seen.
With what I've seen. So
did you start Stranger Things yet?
I'll get to that. So still doing movies. Next movie I saw was the Violet Evergarden movie. That was the anime show that I'd watched last couple months ago. But there was a movie. I didn't watch it at first because I thought they were just retelling the entire story again. But it's not that. Instead, it's the conclusion that made me happy to see. So I enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, then I rewatched a movie called Mr. Bean's Holiday.
Well, speaking of Mr. Bean,
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that.
Awesome. Because everybody at work is talking about it despite not having seen it yet. Everybody's just excited about the concept. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, I'll get to that. But yeah, no, the film, it's simple. It's basic. It's what it is.
It's
Mr. Bean on a holiday.
I've seen a few clips of Mr. Bean. Like, it's kind of amusing, but not like amusing for me to like just watch. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I feel like that it's like something to watch with somebody than for me to watch alone.
I mean, I would, yeah. I mean, I could watch it alone, but again, I've seen everything so many times that like I can visualize already. So then I also rewatched.
One clip I did see that I was kind of entertained by was him getting the haircut or whatever.
Oh, the haircut. Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I like Mr. Bean. He's so simple.
Yeah.
It's simple comedy, but like everyone can watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. I rewatched Godzilla, the 2014 movie.
Okay.
Because I just felt like watching those movies again.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I loved it, of course. And then the last thing, I finally watched Chip and Dale.
Okay. And
It's fun. It's nothing terribly special.
I mean, that's all I'm expecting from it. Fun. You know what I mean?
It's like a simple fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, all the Easter eggs are crazy and fun, but like the story's simple and basic.
Right.
But it does what it does.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing to blame it for. All right, let me go into shows.
Did the 2D guy become 3D by the end?
I'm sorry, what?
Did the 2D chipmunk become 3D by the end? Or did the 3D guy go back to being 2D?
Nope, nothing changed.
Okay.
The status quo was the same.
Okay.
Were you expecting that to happen?
I mean, I know nothing about the story, so yes.
Okay. We finished Moon Knight.
Sorry, just again, like I didn't watch any of the trailers, so like, yeah, I know all I have seen are screenshots on Twitter.
Okay. We finished Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Which
did your mom prefer, Moon Knight or Multiverse of Madness?
I would probably think Multiverse of Madness.
Makes sense.
The entire time watching Moon Knight, she was like, "This is kind of a weird show." After every episode, she thought that. Sure, yeah.
Oh, and then now that you've actually seen Moon Knight fully fleshed out,
my official review is a show with some cool editing and cinematography, but a lackluster plot.
Yes.
The story presented would be better if done in a film. There's potential, but the show didn't really reach that point.
Yes. I did feel like the cinematography was a little too experimental for my current taste.
Mm.
But yeah, there were like more creative than a lot of the MCU,
It was
in
creative,
my opinion.
yes.
So that was cool. Like those were aspects I enjoyed of Moon Knight and Multiverse of Madness, but I did appreciate Multiverse of Madness more than Moon Knight in that regard. No, man, what the frick is up with Marvel story this phase?
Yeah, Moon Knight. At first glance, it's like they do have some really cool stuff, but it's not enough. It's like I've already seen so many other things that did a lot of this better.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of basic.
Yeah, it's sad.
I mean, sure, we're learning about a new character, but I don't know if we're getting a season 2 because it's never confirmed.
Well, I mean, we'll see if it carries on into the MCU.
He'll probably show up later on in a film somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're doing a season 2. because this is still labeled as a miniseries. There was no teaser for season 2 at the end.
Right.
You could say Jacob, but that could also just be, here's the answer to that question. Now we're done.
Yeah. Oh, so that's also one thought. I did feel like the transition from WandaVision to Multiverse of Madness is kind of harsh. You know what I mean?
If you just watch it straight from that to that.
I mean, arguably, yes. But, I mean, even with Wanda, I feel like... Because there were a lot of people who did not see that coming in Multiverse of Madness of her becoming the villain.
No, I get that.
There probably should have been an additional scene or two to help ease the people into the idea, maybe. But the thing is, again, like what we said, that reveal is the only reveal of the story, and once that happens, you're just along for the ride.
You are. Yeah.
Anyways, carry on.
Okay, so the next thing I rewatched actually, something called Star Wars Forces of Destiny. So this was a series of like short 4-minute episodes, animated 2D, based on the female characters of Star Wars.
When was this released?
Came out in 2017. So before The Last Jedi, after Rogue One, they're like, hey, female characters, let's sell this toy line and this thing to go with it. And they had 2 seasons, 16 episodes each, about 4 minutes for each episode. They're canon, by the way. But here, I know. I was thinking about this while watching. It's like, I don't think I'll put this on this list because it's so confusing when to put these things. So here's my.
It would almost literally have to be episode by episode. You'd have to squeeze it on the list, right?
Yes, actually, it would. But here's what I wrote down. I give it a 1.5 star out of 5. So it's a series of anthology shorts with a neat premise of being about the female characters of Star Wars. However, the animation and stories are poorly executed. The animation is horrendous. For being like an official thing, I'm baffled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was released free on YouTube, but still.
Dang.
Still, I'm like, what? Really? The animation, they poorly executed, especially being something official and part of canon. They get better with the second season, but half the stories mean nothing. This could have been a good opportunity to learn more about the new film characters, but the story they're given can be considered filler and a waste of time. Because, like, I was very intrigued because, like, you have the characters from the sequel trilogy, the main one, Rey. Her stories you could skip and they wouldn't mean anything because they're just nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
They're just these basic things. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this random thing that's not gonna change anything. It's hard to explain without seeing how worthless it is, but it's such a shame because, like, Jin from Rogue One has a couple episodes. They don't do anything. In fact, I feel like that's slightly contradictory to her character.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, everyone else, like Padme, Ahsoka, some characters from Rebels, Leia even, their stories are better because they're actually giving them something to do that's interesting. Versus the other ones, because they're new, they don't want to contradict anything, so they don't give them anything to do. which is such a waste.
Now I'm almost curious to see how it fits on your timeline.
See, I am thinking of creating a timeline, a proper timeline.
With those.
Yeah, because like half of those characters, especially the new ones, take place during the film. But like they don't work. Because you're not going to watch the film and think, oh, they just had this adventure. No, they didn't. But apparently they did. So, I'll probably try and do something, but still. All right. Next thing.
Yes.
Man versus Bee.
Yes!
I was really looking forward to this when I found out about this. Because, like, again, it's such a simple and dumb premise, but it just looked like so much fun.
Yeah.
I watched it with my mom, and we enjoyed it. It was funny. It's like nothing amazing, but it is what we expected. A fun miniseries reminiscent of the classic Mr. Bean adventures. Awesome. That's what we got.
That's awesome.
They're short episodes, about 10 to 15 minutes each.
Well, I heard the first episode was the longest.
It is.
But still, that's fun.
Still, 9 episodes. So
9 episodes.
9 episodes.
5. Okay.
Yeah, you could watch them all in one sitting.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny. My mom was just cringing the entire time.
Really?
Because she's an artist, and like artwork was being destroyed, and she was like, "No, that's this artist. No, it's this." It was hilarious. We had a good time.
That's awesome.
I was just happy to see that actor do more things like that again. So there you go. That's that. Did you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I haven't seen it, but someone at work started talking about it, and all of a sudden, half the people is like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing! We're excited for this." So, yeah, it's kind of been a little bit of the talk. So, yeah, you've experienced comms, so like occasionally there's just somebody who says something random, and half the people jump on it, and like, "Oh my gosh, yes!" So,
like if you just watch the trailer for this thing, that's the entire show. Like you don't even need to watch the show, but like it's still fun.
Yeah.
All right. Iron Fist. I'm still watching that.
Okay.
I'm halfway through that.
Shows how hard it is for you to watch it.
It's not that it's hard. My interest isn't as high.
Essentially, it's hard for you to be motivated to watch the show.
Right. Like, I'm more entertained by watching someone play Minecraft than be like, oh, let's sit down. But, like, the episodes aren't the worst things in the world. They're just... they exist. But, like, the show is definitely so important to Defenders. It's like, it's all coming together. It's like, I can see it happening. It's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's all coming together. I remember now. Oh boy. Like, I think that maybe you'd enjoy the show better than me. But it is what it is. And the last thing I did was season 1 of Stranger Things.
John.
What?
It's the way you said that.
I mean, it's the conclusion of all this stuff I've been watching. So,
how many stars did you give season 1?
A nice 3.5.
Okay, that's actually what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, you gave it like what, 5?
Probably.
Yeah, you gave it 5, which is fair. Because like it is well made.
It's well made. The slice of life is honestly almost, in my opinion, almost more intriguing than the actual plot.
Okay.
Like the thing is, like, sometimes when you have slice of life in like movies or TV shows, like, it's boring, filler, side stuff. What the frick? Get over it. We just want the fun stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually like enjoyable to watch, in my opinion. That's essentially, and like some of these characters I enjoyed a lot. Nancy, that like all I wanted to see is like their stories. You know what I mean?
Nancy.
I Nancy. Yes, I love Nancy.
Sure. Not in season 2 though. So I've seen 2 episodes.
Okay.
Season 2. From those 2, Nancy's making some choices.
What did she do in season 2? I don't.
She got drunk.
Did she? Did.
That's the only thing we have seen so far. She got drunk.
She did get drunk. Yeah.
Yeah. Just for those listening, how my ratings are: 3. I give them 3 stars if I think like they're good, basic, and average.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can watch them and be like, this is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3.5 is like a little above average.
Mm-hmm.
4 means I really like it. 5 means I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stranger Things, I do think is above average. It's well made, well acted, decent story.
Do you think it was a little better than you were expecting?
No, it's exactly what I thought.
Okay.
It's like I knew more about season 1.
Yeah.
Like I'd seen bits and pieces when my mother watched it, so yeah, I knew some things that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
So I know you're not that deep into after season 1, but do you wish it was just a limited series? Because right now I'm almost feeling the Toy Story 4 conundrum, where like it had a relatively decent ending. They obviously set it up for the future, but it had a relatively decent ending.
Had a decent ending. I do think like season 2 was like inevitable because of how the ending was setting stuff up. We're like at 4 seasons now.
Yeah, well, there's a confirmed 5th and final season.
Of course. 5th and a final, or 5th final season?
Final. That's final.
Okay. I'm going to wait 2 years for that, I guess.
Or longer.
Of course. Ugh.
Look at you. Kind of invested.
Kind of invested. We'll see when we get there.
Yeah.
We'll see when we get there, because I'll probably be tired out by the time we get to season 4. Because that typically happens. Like when I get closer to the end of a longer series, I just start to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, not to mention the fact that all the episodes in season 4 are over an hour long.
I saw that. It's like,
and this upcoming final episode is reportedly over 2 hours long.
Bruh.
So
I've been watching 2 episodes a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like we try to I try to like average out like 3 hours to watch with mom.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the Batman again. That took the entire day.
Did she pause a lot?
No, we didn't pause until the end because we had to go do something else.
Uh-huh.
So we watched the entire thing. She thought it was fine. Of course. No, she took a nap during Godzilla. Yeah, like she'd seen it with me.
Yeah, that was more for you, I guess, right?
It was more for me. She was just there.
Yeah.
So she took a nap, and like she woke up. It's like, oh, that was the best nap I ever had. Like she went
nap to Godzilla more often.
She slept like at the very beginning and woke up at the very end, which is funny. But yeah, no. Stranger Things season 1, cool. I can tell why it's very popular.
Right.
But we'll see how it handles going on. Because I could see it becoming way too complicated. And crazy. So we'll see. So you had the chance to listen to the epic opera, the epic opera mix once.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think this mix is super cool. Like again, just listening to it once. I don't know, like the first track. I'm not crazy about like the most of the Star Wars scores, so I wasn't necessarily crazy about the opening. But like there's a relatively decent flow past that point. But probably the track that ironically stands out the most to me due to context is the Padme song.
Of course.
But yeah, because I don't have context for most of these songs, it struggles to stand out. But songs that did stand out would probably be I'm trying to look at the My Hero Academia thing. The Power of All for One was pretty cool. Also, the 8-minute Lord of the Rings track.
Oh, you like that one?
So what was interesting is I think from the VeggieTales Lord of the Rings, Beans. My bad.
Yes.
I'm gonna assume that score was based off the Lord of the Rings score. So in that 8-minute track, I recognized something, and I was gonna be like, John, what is this? This like, and I'm like, wait a minute, this probably was riffed off of for VeggieTales. I'm like, okay,
right.
So that stood out in that way.
I was concerned about that one because it's long.
I like long songs.
Okay.
So yeah, there's some really like interesting performances, dare I say, like structures, performances, and it's a lot of it relies on the fact that it being your epic opera playlist, that the vocals do help bring a uniqueness compared to the other score mixes, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a fun, enjoyable listen.
Cool. Find out whenever you listen to it again for more in-depth analysis.
If I don't know if I can go more in depth. I mean, I can and will listen to it again, but like, I don't know what else to say.
What else to say about the tracks we didn't mention?
Hey, John, give me a track-by-track review of the Boxing album.
The box, I can't do that. So, yeah, come back later. We'll
to
tell
hear
you about
John's track-by-track review of the Boxing album.
To hear this, I already whatever, Christopher, whatever. We'll get to that when we get to that, okay?
No, I'll be sending you a K-pop playlist.
Wonderful.
That I would expect more of a track-by-track.
Maybe.
If you're expecting...
Here's the thing. If they're not like the boxing one, for the boxing they were all very similar, then maybe.
Here, at least with the K-pop stuff, you have music videos. So at least visually, you'll be able to distinguish if you're not able to sonically.
Mostly, yes. Hopefully. We'll see when we get there.
There's something else, John.
Yes, we're not going to have an episode this next week.
Yeah, so I will probably send it to you in a week. so it'd be closer to recording, just in case if you listen to it right away and completely forget and you don't want to revisit it, so it's better, you know.
Yeah, there's that.
There's that.
Anyway, today they were announcing some casting for Madame Web. The internet's funny because they're like, "Wow, this film has a lot of attractive people in it," is what they're saying. I'm looking at this cast and it's like, with the three main ones that they've announced, and I'm like, none of them are old. They're all young. Who's Madame Web? Not this young girl. Hopefully not. Who's the oldie?
Well, isn't Dakota Johnson Madam Web?
I have no idea.
That's what I thought I've been seeing.
Is she Madame Web?
Like when the casting of a movie is announced, isn't the first one the title character typically?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Like, all everyone's talking about is Emma Roberts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anything about who
I don't
is
really
playing what.
know who she is that much, except that I know she's a name, but it's like, why are they going so hard on casting? Why do these people accept these roles after seeing Morbius, or I guess not seeing Morbius,
Dakota Johnson is Madame Web. Ugh.
I don't know, man.
I say that because, like, Madame Web, I've seen as more of an older character.
Nobody old is attractive anymore, John. So they had to get their attractive people.
Darn them. And I guess Dora is going to be in this film as well.
Wait, Dora?
Dora. The live-action Dora.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So, who knows what she's playing?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's this? Oh, it's nothing.
So, so are you familiar with the YouTube channel Beyond the Trailer?
Yeah.
So I was watching a video of her. She was talking about Thor 4, and the review embargo hadn't lifted, or still isn't lifted at this point. So she was trying to talk abstractly about it because she was talking more about like the business side of things. But she did say one thing I thought was really interesting. She said Thor 4 essentially sets up Thor 5.
I haven't really watched much of her stuff.
Because
our opinions are typically, most of the time, are the opposite. Where she has a certain problem with the film, and I'm like, that's not a problem at all. You just misunderstood it. But yeah, no, she has a lot of numbers that she's good at.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of her stuff, but I saw that and I was curious. And like, if what she's saying is true, it's a little disappointing. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, I almost feel like it's almost going to be a similar Doctor Strange conundrum, where I'm going to be there for the visuals, or in this case, for the comedy, and that's it.
Yeah, I can see that being the case.
And Natalie Portman.
And Natalie Portman. I don't know why I keep forgetting about that detail. I don't know why. I think of Thor 4, it's like, oh yeah, that film, Taika, those visuals. Then you just mention anything that Natalie Portman's a part of, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's in this film too.
Bro, I'm excited.
Yeah, just now I was looking at the Forces of Destiny thing. It's like, oh, Padme. Oh yeah, Natalie Portman, she's doing stuff. But yeah, that's that. I haven't watched Miss Marvel at all.
I haven't gotten past the second episode yet. I just haven't made time.
Mhm.
I was actually thinking about watching Stranger Things before calling you, and like, no, I'm gonna hit the mix, and I'll probably watch Stranger Things after calling you, because kind of my mentality, because Volume 2 drops this week, and my family's coming this week, so I want to see if I can just get it all done this week.
I'll probably be traveling this next weekend to my grandparents. So maybe I'll watch the episodes on my way there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be playing catch up with Miss Marvel, honestly. And I'm enjoying it decently.
Yeah.
But I'll be playing catch up.
I mean, I'll probably do that as well, unless tomorrow I decide to watch it with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
I guess I was just a little disappointed that episode 2 just felt still filler, and that's just way too early in the series to be a filler episode, I thought. But also, like, I struggled waking up at a good time this past week, so I didn't make time at all, and then was doing stuff at night. So
yeah, my sleep schedule's all over the place.
Yeah, what a surprise, John.
It is.
Really?
It is.
Why is it a surprise?
What do you mean a surprise?
Like I said sarcastically, what is a surprise, John? And you're like, it is. And I'm like, why is it a surprise, John?
No, I was saying it is. My sleep schedule is all over the place.
Okay, gotcha.
No. Yeah, no, it's... I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it turns out.
Mm-hmm. But so what else do we got from Marvel? We got She-Hulk, which I'm already... Expectations are down.
That's in August?
Yeah.
July, there's nothing much. Besides Thor. Which I assume is the main selling point for Disney. Disney Plus has nothing in July.
Yeah, Lightyear wouldn't even hit Disney Plus in July. Unless it's like the last week.
Right, so July is probably just going to be a rewatch of something before Andor or something like that. I'll probably rewatch Bad Batch before season 2. But honestly, I don't know what I'm doing with that.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. What an interesting time, because July should be full of stuff.
Right. Well,
unless they finally decide to put the Spider-Man movies on there, which I doubt. But
well, even Grace for the Beyond the trailer was saying for the movies, like July is pretty much just Thor. It's like,
yeah, very intriguing. Sure, you have Jurassic World right now, but like,
I mean, Minions releases this week, but then Thor dominates after that.
Of course, nobody's making movies right now.
Apparently.
Taika's Star Wars, I assume he's not going to be coming out next year.
Yeah, it's a little too quick of a turnaround.
Yeah, he just said, like, recently in an interview or something, it's like, I'm still writing the script.
Okay.
Like, I've been busy with these other projects, so
I assume
he's still not really sure where he wants to go with it.
So
like, he knows that he wants to stay away from the main Skywalker saga.
Okay. So Marvel is hitting Comic-Con. Like, there was some, like, I mentioned it last time, but there was actually some announcement of, like, we'll actually be revealing things.
Good for them.
Good for them.
If only Warner Brothers would do the same.
No, but I guess we probably won't get a Star Wars reveal because we already got that with the celebration.
We just got those. If we're gonna get any more, it's gonna be at D23.
Yeah. I'll probably be uninstalling Twitter soon to avoid Thor spoilers, because I hear they're spreading now.
Would I care? No. I probably wouldn't care. Unless for some stupid reason Toby's in the movie. Which there shouldn't be any reason. But if he for some
Taika
reason,
said it's not a multiverse movie, so
of course.
he shouldn't be. I I've chased after spoilers, but I feel like once the movie hits the red carpet is when I don't want to know anything.
Okay.
I feel like that's kind of me. And so it's essentially, honestly, there's been almost nothing about the movie.
Yeah, because like
Especially
the
in
only
comparison
thing
to
I
No Way
would
Home or Multiverse.
yeah, the only thing I would be surprised about is like surprised cameos.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only type of spoiler that I would probably not want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else is probably predictable. But yeah, no, that's how I feel about that. Yeah, let's see. This past week we had a college friend stay. He went to a wedding. He stayed at the house for a couple days. He left. I don't think you would have known him. Cameron Smith.
I knew a few different Camerons.
Right. Well, he was in the theater department with CJ, so
Okay, maybe not.
maybe not. Anyway, Doctor Who. You know, I'm still looking forward to that, but I want to rewatch the show.
But that's a lot.
It's a lot, but like I don't want to just rewatch it.
You
Especially
know what you
since
could do?
what?
You could rewatch it with your mum.
But no, because Mom's already seen it.
She can sleep to it. She can have an even better sleeping to Doctor Who.
Yeah, no, like Doctor Who, I rewatched so many times. That's like I can't really rewatch it unless I'm introducing it to someone. That's become a problem. Like I can rewatch like a handful of good episodes, but a full rewatch, which I really need to do for the 60th. I'm gonna be reviewing the show with CJ in a few months, so
maybe you watch it with CJ. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but CJ's already watching it with his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Of course. So that's the only dilemma I'm having right now. It's just like, what do I do? I could probably just do the review without rewatching it because like I know pretty much everything, but still, I need more mindless friends who haven't seen anything. Let's see.
And our local.
Yeah, because my last rewatch of the show is when I introduced you to Jonathan.
Ah. But that was a while ago.
And he was my roommate.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
It was a while ago. That was 2019 into 20.
What was that? 2019. Okay.
Into 20. So.
Still, okay, that's actually closer than I thought it was.
It's like 2 years.
How long did Jonathan room with you?
At least a year.
Gotcha. I thought almost longer, but I guess I'm wrong.
A year and a half. Like a year probably makes sense. Maybe he got in during the summer or something. But yeah, it was pretty much a year. It was a good year. Yeah, it was a year. We had been hanging out for like longer than that, but that was when he moved in. His final year. I'm not gonna sucker you into this.
If I was there, but I'm not.
Of course.
That's the deal.
And like we're already doing so much of Star Wars.
Yeah. Which honestly, at the rate I'm going, I wonder when I'm even gonna hit that. Like, when I finish my Stranger Things thing, I'm gonna go back to my Pixar thing.
Mm. Either way, I'm excited for when you get to there.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you know.
You'll let me know.
I'm almost. I think at first I was planning to do the Marvel before the Star Wars, but now I'm almost considering doing the opposite. Number one, because of how long it is taking me, but also I don't have to rewatch the MCU that soon, even if it is 6 months away.
Right, and watching the Netflix movie, the shows.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like I have enough new content, Agents of Shield.
It would be
Period.
harder for me to do that rewatch with you because I'm just watching them now. Like Daredevil, I could probably watch easily.
Right.
The other stuff,
I mean, you don't have to.
I'm
but
really just there to warn you about certain things.
That is true. Well, it depends how bad Stranger Things 4 gets. And then maybe I'll be okay. We'll see.
Maybe. But yeah, no, serialized. They seem to only care about their app now.
What do you mean?
Because their website just is so behind. Like they don't have some features that are only available on the app. For instance, time spent watching the TV, which is my favorite detail.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm almost at 12,000 episodes.
Oh my gosh, John. Get a life.
I love that detail. I know that the actual amount is longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Because of shows you can't think of adding?
No, because of how many times I rewatch shows. Because this counts rewatches as well.
Mm.
No, I love that detail so much. Yeah, that's the gist of it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to work on that timeline that was sent to you.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
I'll probably also do like a little description of things to help in between, because some books happen.
Gotcha. Whether they're canon or not.
Yeah. Forces of Destiny. I don't know if I'll even try that.
Oh, come on.
Like, there's some that I can easily fit in.
Right.
Others, not so much.
Right. Well, the ones you can fit in, at least, I'm curious.
Like, there are definitely some where I'm like, he can watch this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's enough quality content in this 4-minute, poorly animated thing. But yeah, no. The hardest thing to do is the video games.
I feel like you'd have to treat that like the books. Because I'm honestly not that interested in watching the cutscenes. I'm just straight up honest with you. I haven't tried with South Park once. I'm just like, I'm not into this.
It could become a problem in the future.
I know. And I'll just try not to care.
Uh-huh.
Which I've been doing a pretty good job with Star Wars anyways.
Yeah. Pretty good job. Oh, right. Kenobi.
What about Kenobi?
Obi-Wan's emotional journey
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much almost the exact same as the main character of Jedi Fallen Order, the video game. Pretty much.
Well, I would have never known unless you told me what you did. So,
Which I did. So there you go. That's your explanation for that. Is there anything else for us to discuss?
I can't think of anything, honestly.
All right.
We've run out of things to talk about.
Yes.
I didn't watch that much. You ran out of things to talk about of what you've seen.
And I've seen a lot, so
You've seen a lot. And there honestly really was like almost no news. Blade will probably start filming in October. I think last week I mentioned Ironheart started filming. But not much else.
There's
outside
no
of that.
film news.
There's
There's
no
news. There's
film
news. But nothing we want to talk about.
Nothing worth talking about.
At least on this podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.